Honestly, just because other departments do it doesn't make it the right drug.
Right now at 6, Aurora City leaders are pushing an alternative to ketamine during police encounters. The city's firefighters are raising concerns.
We just went through the same process a few years ago with ketamine, and we were told it was safe.
They don't want a repeat of what happened to Elijah McClain, and some city council members are backing them up.
I couldn't imagine that any firefighter right now is excited to run out and inject a chemical sedative into anybody.
Tonight, Denver 7 Investigates digs into the city's plan and looks into why it's being pushed with such urgency.
Rolling it out as fast as they are and without consulting the firefighters that are the ones that have to be administering it.
Hey, good evening, and thank you for joining us for Denver 7 News at 6. I'm Ann Trujillo.
And I'm Shannon Ogden. Aurora's fire union says it's not ready to use a new sedative the department plans on using.
It is seen as an alternative to ketamine, which the city banned after Elijah McClain's death.
Denver 7 investigative reporter Jennifer Kovaleski joins us with an exclusive interview tonight.
And Jen, Aurora firefighters, they want to put pause on this right now.
Ann and Shannon, exactly. The union tells me that firefighters are hesitant to inject anyone after what happened to McClain. They also say they weren't a part of the decision-making process. Aurora Councilwoman Danielle Jurinsky is also raising her own concerns.
We have massive concerns, major concerns.
It's a controversial topic and a controversial drug. It's called Droparidol, and the Aurora Fire Union says it doesn't want to use it.
Concerns with Droparidol, first of all, we had a sedative prior to this called ketamine, and we were told the same thing, that it's a safe drug, and we have two of my members that are on trial for murder.
3 police officers and 2 Aurora Fire paramedics are facing criminal charges in the death of Elijah McClain. McClain died shortly after medics injected him with the sedative ketamine. The city of Aurora stopped using the drug after his death.
A lot of the members are scared.
Aurora Fire Union President Travis Pulliam says he doesn't understand why the city is rushing to introduce a new sedative.
There hasn't been an incident since the ketamine has been taken away from us, so we don't understand the urgency to bring back another one.
Are there hesitancies among your members, among firefighters, to inject anybody with anything?
Absolutely. You know, we have this medication, so do I have to give it? And if I don't give it, am I going to get in trouble for withholding a medication? But at the same time, if I give it, am I going to be the next one that's standing trial for murder?
Droparidol is a rapid-acting sedative. The drug would be used to treat highly aggressive or agitated patients. Aurora's medical director presented information about the sedative to a council committee earlier this month.
This is a widely used medication across the state of Colorado. Every Denver metro agency uses this.
Dr. Eric Hill told council the drug is different than the current sedative firefighters are using.
There is no one ideal medication that is always the best medication.
Why are we doing this? What is the urgency? All it takes is one time for something to go wrong.
Aurora City Councilwoman Danielle Jurinsky is also questioning why the city wants to use Droparidol. Who do you think is pushing wanting to use this sedative?
I don't have an answer for that. I truly don't know, and I don't understand why, as a council member, I'm even being dismissed to get answers.
We wanted to find out why the city thinks it needs to add this sedative. Aurora's medical director said it would bring them in line with what other EMS agencies are doing. We reached out to Aurora Fire for its perspective on the pushback. It said in a statement, the drug provides an additional option, one of the best options to care for some of our patients. And Aurora Fire Rescue welcomes continued feedback. Ann?
All right, Jen, thank you. And we spoke to a couple medical experts to hear their perspective on the safety of Droparidol. Both say the drug is safe when used appropriately.
It works as a tranquilizer, but it has had other uses in terms of relief of nausea and relief of other agitation. This drug is fairly safe, meaning that it is very rare that the drug itself, when utilized in that appropriate context, will have those side effects.
So I think that Droparidol is, I would say, probably 70 to 80% of what I use for sedation in the emergency department.
And both experts noted that this drug does have a black box warning from the FDA that significantly reduced its use in the early 2000s, but it is now making a comeback.
Aurora's police and fire departments are being required to make changes through a consent decree entered last year. There are 70 mandates outlined in the decree, which was established following Elijah McClain's death. And as part of the consent decree, Aurora Fire has put in processes in place to have a review every time a sedative is used by EMS.
The Secretary of State's office says a petition has been filed for a recall election of Democratic State Senator Kevin Prigola. Earlier this week, Prigola, who represents Adams County in our state's capital, announced that he is switching parties from Republican to Democrat. And he cited climate change and some Republicans continuing to deny the 2020 election results as reason for the switch. Colorado's GOP spokesperson says Prigola lied to voters and broke the trust of those who elected him. Democratic Senate President Steve Fenberg called it disappointing yet not surprising that MAGA Republicans are trying to cancel Prigola.
Well, today, President Biden announced his student loan forgiveness plan, which will cancel a portion of student loan debt for millions of Americans. Under this plan, students who went to college on Pell Grants will have $20,000 of their debt canceled. For other federal loan borrowers, the plan will forgive up to $10,000. Now, you have to apply for the loan forgiveness. The application process will be open in the coming weeks. Also, the pause on federal student loan payments, that has been now extended to December 31st.
And this news was celebrated by many and criticized by many others. Denver 7's Megan Lopez brings us the perspectives of politicians and average people about what this will mean for them and the country.
My campaign for president, I made a commitment.
It was,
and I'm honoring that commitment today,
an unprecedented announcement, the kind that gave millions of Americans hope for a future without student loan debt.
I was really thrilled to hear the news.
And outraged millions of others.
So it does nothing to solve the long-term problem of increasing higher education costs.
An announcement that gets people and politicians talking. For State Senator Rachel Zenzinger,
I'm actually going to get to put this towards my own student loans, and I might actually pay off my loans before I turn 50.
This announcement is personal.
I'm a teacher, so I'm in one of those professions that just wasn't able to pay back my student loan as quickly.
She just dropped her daughter off at college, so this is a big deal. But as a politician, she knows it isn't the end.
But then it also brings up some other questions about what are we going to do to tackle the high cost of higher education going forward.
Others, like State Representative Colin Larson.
I had student debt myself. It was astronomical back then.
Already paid off their student loans and won't benefit from this.
It's only people who happen to be currently paying student loans.
He says it's short-sighted and doesn't address the core issue.
Next year, we're going to have a whole slew of kids graduating from institutions of higher learning across this country who are going to graduate with fresh debt that's not going to be canceled.
And some, like State Senator Paul Lundeen, worry about what this will mean for the economy and future generations.
And this, I think, tragically, as kind-hearted as it seems, is going to feed into that inflationary spiral.
He's also worried about how this will affect the value of the American dollar, since the federal government won't be seeing hundreds of billions of dollars from borrowers.
It makes all of our dollars, the dollars in your paycheck, Megan, are going to be worth less next month than they were this month. And they will be worth even less 2 months from now.
But Congressman Ed Perlmutter doesn't buy that. He says, if anything, this will strengthen the economy.
I was a bankruptcy lawyer for a long time before I got elected to Congress. And there is some loss to the nation, but I think it's made up for and then some by the investment that people will make.
In fact, he'd like to see Congress take even more actions to ensure future generations aren't saddled with this type of debt.
I'd like to eliminate the interest. Make sure everybody pays back the principal.
But some voters want it to go even further than that.
During his election year, he was talking about that he was going to forgive it altogether.
Tony Montoya says President Biden made even bigger promises on the campaign trail.
And I think that if President Biden is a man of his word, then he should get rid of it.
Had this been the case before, he might have gone to college. Online, though, opinions were split. Some applauded the move, others called it unfair, saying they made different life choices with college costs in mind, and yet they're getting nothing. Nevertheless, student debt relief is coming to some.
That's what today's announcement is about.
Megan Lopez, Denver 7.
It's about giving people a fair shot.
All right, so we want to know what will be the biggest impact on your life if your student loan debt is forgiven. You can share your opinion on thedenverchannel.com. We have our full in-depth coverage at the top of our homepage.
Today, Governor Polis joined several other state leaders to announce the launch of a new program to help aspiring healthcare professionals. The Care Forward Colorado program makes community college free for those students. Those who enroll this fall in programs, including those for certified nursing assistants, dental assistants, or pharmacy techs, will be reimbursed tuition through 2024.
A milestone has been achieved in the cleanup efforts of Marshall Fire debris in Boulder County. The ops team managing the debris removal program says they have cleared all properties of ash and debris. And over the course of the last 4 months, Boulder County's contractor cleared ash and debris from 566 properties. That's 260 in Louisville, 242 in Superior, and 64 in unincorporated Boulder County. And the Target location in Superior is scheduled to reopen next Tuesday. This is video from that day of the Marshall fire showing the thick black smoke covering the store's parking lot. The Target store had heavy roof damage. It was flooded from sprinklers not shutting off for days. The location has been completely remodeled and restocked ahead of opening next week.
A new scam preying on Colorado's most vulnerable.
I was upset. I was in shock. How am I going to feed my children?
And the state is now taking notice. We hear from a woman scammed out of thousands on her EBT card.
It's not fair. We have to live too. You know, we have to survive.
We have some storms in the mountains for this evening. Not much chance on the plains. I'll let you know when Denver will see some rain.